Imagine showing up for your first day of high school. You find your classroom, meet your teachers, figure out where your friends sit at lunch. Everything feels normal. But what if someone told you that decades earlier, the same hallways weren't filled with students? They were filled with children who had nowhere else to go. Not because they were attending school, because they lived there, slept there, grew up there, and called the building home. This isn't a movie, it isn't an urban legend, and it isn't one of those stories that gets exaggerated over time. It's real. Before Archbishop Prendergast High School welcomed students, the property served as one of the region's most significant orphanages.
The building was first an orphanage and eventually became an all-girls Catholic high school.
And somehow, that's only the middle chapter of the story. Because before the orphanage, there was a mansion. And after the school, there would be another transformation entirely. This land has lived multiple lives, and today, we're uncovering all of them. Chapter 1. The property that refused to stay the same. Most schools have one identity. A school is built, students attend, life goes on. This property wasn't like that. Long before classrooms existed, before locker rooms, before school dances, the land was home to an estate known as Runnymede. At the time, properties like this represented wealth and status, large grounds, beautiful landscaping, a grand residence, the kind of place people noticed. For years, it stood as one of the area's notable estates. But history has a strange way of changing direction when nobody expects it. In 1908, a fire destroyed the mansion. Imagine standing there afterward, the building gone, the future uncertain. Nobody could have predicted what would come next. Certainly not that the property would one day house hundreds of children, and later, thousands of students. To understand what happened next, we need to remember something about America in the early 1900s. Life was harder, medical care was limited, economic struggles were common, parents died younger, many families had few resources. When tragedy struck, children sometimes had nowhere to go. That's where orphanages came in. They weren't perfect, but they often provided food, shelter, education, and stability. The Archdiocese of Philadelphia purchased the property and developed St. Vincent's Orphanage. When it opened in 1920, it wasn't just another building. It represented hope for children facing some of life's hardest circumstances. Now, pause for a moment, because this is where history becomes personal. When we talk about orphanages, it's easy to think about buildings, records, dates, statistics. But buildings don't make history, people do. Imagine being a child arriving at St. Vincent's. Perhaps you've lost a parent, maybe both. Maybe your family simply couldn't provide for you. You're carrying uncertainty, fear, questions, and suddenly, this massive building becomes your new home. For many children, the orphanage wasn't a temporary stop. It was where they spent years of their lives. They ate together, learned together, played together, formed friendships, celebrated holidays, created memories. The building became an entire world, and over the decades, hundreds upon hundreds of children passed through those doors, each with a story, most of which have been lost to time. Picture the hallways, not as a school, as a home, morning routines, shared meals, study periods, recreation, rules, responsibilities. Children moving through the building every day. The sounds would have been completely different from what students later experienced. Yet strangely, some things wouldn't have been so different. Young people preparing for their future, learning, growing, trying to figure out where they fit in the world. That part never changes, no matter the era. As decades passed, America changed, social services expanded, adoption practices evolved, support systems improved. Gradually, large orphanages became less common. The need that once filled St. Vincent's began to decline. And eventually, a major question emerged. What happens to a building designed to house hundreds of children when fewer children need it? The answer would reshape the property once again. Many historic buildings disappear, demolished, forgotten, replaced. This one didn't. Instead, it adapted. The orphanage was transformed into Archbishop Prendergast High School. Think about that. A place once created to shelter children became a place designed to educate them. Different purpose, same mission. Helping young people build a future. In a strange way, the building wasn't abandoning its past, it was continuing it, just through education rather than housing. Imagine attending school there years later. You walk through a hallway, sit in a classroom, talk with friends, and never realize what existed there before. How many students knew? How many didn't? How many passed through those halls without realizing that decades earlier, children had slept in the same building? That's one of the fascinating things about history. Most of it hides in plain sight. Here's what gets overlooked. The building survived, but many of the stories didn't. The names, the dreams, the friendships, the fears, the victories. Thousands of moments happened inside those walls long before students arrived. Moments that shaped real lives. And yet most people today have never heard them. History often remembers buildings, but forgets people. As remarkable as the transformation from orphanage to school was, the story wasn't finished. Eventually, the property entered another chapter. New uses, new plans, new generations. Which means this single piece of land has been a mansion, an orphanage, a high school, and now part of a college campus environment. 4 lives, 1 location. Very few places can tell a story like that. Most people see a school and think about what happens inside it today. Classes, sports, friends, teachers. But sometimes the most fascinating story isn't the one happening now. It's the one that happened before. And before Archbishop Prendergast became a school, hundreds of children called it home. Before that, a mansion stood on the property. And after that, another transformation awaited. A single piece of land, more than a century of history, multiple generations, multiple purposes, and countless lives connected by the same place. Because sometimes the most interesting thing about a school isn't the school at all. It's what stood there before the first bell ever rang. Next episode, Tease. We've covered schools built on military land, schools connected to hospitals, and schools connected to orphanages. But next, we're investigating a school tied to one of America's most turbulent periods of war, and the story is even stranger than you think.